Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the stream. 1 second, excuse me here. I need to adjust my crazy hair here. Oh, there we go. That way my hair is not sticking up. So tonight we are going to be covering my progress on my Settlers of Catan 3D build. So I already covered I already covered part 1. This will be part 2. And the progress I've made today, since yesterday, making my mother mold and everything, and trying out some things that didn't work and trying out some things that worked. Doing some research on, how I want the board to be arranged and laid out. Did a little bit more research during my day job. So, yeah, this is just an update on my current progress. I'm sorry. But before we begin, I know I typically cover Crowfall, and for those of you tuning in, some of you guys there might be some overlap, right? A lot of Settlers of Catan fans out there, and they range in let's say preferences, types, and game preferences. So no doubt there are plenty of Crowfall fans and Settler of Catan fans who are one and the same. So with that being said, I'd just like to give a shout out to Gordon, one of the co-founders of Crowfall. Kind of reached out to me in my channel and apologized for the buggy beta test I had last, but I shot him a reply kind of stating that we all kind of get it, and we just are excited to kind of get back in and test. But I appreciate the sentiment, Gordon, if you're watching. But without further ado, let's hop right into the progress I've made thus far. So just to kind of recap what we did yesterday. Yesterday I did the base tiles, and I did my thief. You can kind of see here, and let's see if we get to the next tile. So this next tile here is just a sample. I think this is Forest 1 or Forest 2 tile. So I did a very minimal technique, being, I baked the hexagon base, and then I've added the top topography layer, landscaping layers on there in the style that I wanted to. I cut out the insert for any of the wooden value tokens, things like that, and I placed my landscape or my objects on that tile. So you can see this is Forest 1 and 2 tiles fresh out of the oven here, and they turned out really nice, very simple. And then today I did a little bit more of the same, but I started off baking the base tiles, and this was just rolled through. In order to make these, I basically took a ball of super sculpey clay, and then I've rolled it using a roller, clay roller that I have, rolled it into the mother mold kind of, and got it nice and flush with the actual geometry of that interior shape. And this way I'm able to keep all the hexagons kind of consistent with each other in terms of height, and relatively consistent. They're not perfect, but I think that's the appeal of them. I think that's what makes them really beautiful, in the sense that there's some slight imperfections in the geometry, and that gives it kind of the artisan, handcrafted look. I had a question from one of my coworkers earlier on, who asked if I was doing this to resell, and the short answer is no. I'm just doing this for fun. It's a labor of love. So with that being said, I don't have any intentions of making money off of this particular set. I may end up in the near future work with one of my coworkers who just so happens to be a 3D modeler, who can easily kind of render out a more detailed version of this minimalist style that I'm generating, and perhaps mass reproduce certain things a little bit more consistently. But at the moment, I don't really have any plans to do that. And even the whole 3D printing technique, I'd have to see. He does kind of his own thing on the side, so I don't want to intrude on his hobby. I shouldn't say I may, I will eventually invest in my own 3D printer. It's just not something I'm interested in currently. I'm more interested in hand sculpting these things, and I just enjoy the process. I'm not trying to rush it by any means. So I've created, let's count, I've created 9 tiles here, and tonight I got about 6 tiles done. So tomorrow we're going to do the same. We're going to probably produce another 9 base tiles, and I'm going to most likely get 6 done unless I find more time after putting the baby down, finding more time to do this. Today I worked a little bit later. I just get kind of caught up in the process, and I absolutely love it. So after doing those base tiles, or while I was baking those base tiles, I baked them all at once. I bake them at 275 degrees. It's Fahrenheit. It's in a regular oven, and I have this, obviously this aluminum foil down as kind of a barrier, so I'm not using it on my baking sheet where food will touch, because this is, of course, it is clay with some type of plastic compounds in there, which I don't want any residue on there touching any food that could potentially go in that baking sheet. So just kind of a safety note, obviously be fully aware of materials and any hazards that come around with working these type of materials. That's with any types of arts and crafts in general. For those who are watching who are not familiar with it, always read your labels and always follow the directions that you're instructed to do. Just kind of a disclaimer or kind of a warning, obviously. But yeah, I just simply bake those for the recommended time. These are approximately an 1/8 to a 1/4 inch thick tiles. I haven't measured them exactly, but maybe closer to a 1/4 inch, to be honest with you. Thick tiles. And then while those were baking, I actually got a chance to prepare some of, you can see here some of my trees that are going to be placed, and then some of my topography, my landscape shapes that I have. And these are just very, very thin. These are maybe, an 1/8 of an inch thick that I rolled out. I kind of eyeballed. I don't have any thing to set the fixed height, because I kind of wanted these varying, very, very, very subtle variations in the height, in the topography, which kind of lends itself really, really well to this handcrafted aesthetic. And then once I've kind of adhered them to each other, just by using my tool and kind of pressing them together, I'm able to then start cutting them out on top of each other, something similar to this, although without the cog type shape. I'm able to kind of cut out a padding for the tiles, and the reason I do this is to account for any roads or settlements and cities that I'm placing in between, right? So I want to make sure I'm accounting for that. And then once we have those on, I didn't include as many process images here because I kind of already included them there, but I'll show you. Let's see, what do I have? Oh, I didn't include a full. Okay, well, I was gonna say I didn't include the full set. Let's take a look here. Let's see. I may have just need to verify that I have a full set. The full set image. I do have the full set image. So I'm going to add that real quick. Yeah, I'm going to add that full set image real quick here. Where do we have the full set image? There we go. Done. Okay. And you'll see it's right there. But I'll quickly show you. This is, you know, the last 2 forest pieces I made. So, and you can see some imperfections in here. I can clean that up with an X-Acto blade or a Dremel if I really needed to clean up the edges. Like I said, I really don't mind the imperfections in here. I may just nick this off with my tool, my sculpting tool, or my, you know, X-Acto blade before I paint it. This is just, you know, if it affects like the fit of any of these tokens or the thief or anything like that, I may consider cleaning it up a little bit. But other than that, I really don't mind any imperfections like on this area here. If it doesn't affect the playability, even just imperfections like creases and little nicks and that, I may just clean that up just for playability's sake. But other than that, I'm very, very happy with how they turned out. These are unpainted white Super Sculpey tiles, so once I paint them with acrylic, I haven't decided completely the style I want to paint them. So for now, they're going to be all white until I'm done sculpting the resource tiles. So that was the forest. Here's a quick look at, let's take a look at this image. This one's a little bit more cleaned up. I did some photo editing on this to kind of share on my Instagram account, but really this is these are the mountain tiles, so the ore resources. They're not very mountainous, but that's okay. I wanted an abstract variant of mountains. I guess they can be mountains depending on how big the person is, right? But really this is just for ore resource, and I just wanted a landscape. I wanted this to have some visual unique visual landscape qualities, so I was able to use my sculpting tool, and I you know, was settled on a technique that I found to be pretty effective by essentially just stacking blobs of clay into, you know, a stack formation, and then eventually just chipping away at that block formation to form at various angles, chipping away with that kind of blade on my sculpting tool to give me these jagged and flat rock surfaces that you see here. So it is kind of tedious. It's not really tedious in the sense where it was annoying to do by any means, because I 100% thoroughly enjoyed doing this. It was something therapeutic about just kind of slicing little bits away from this to make that stone slab. But yeah, I you know, finish all of these and place them together here in a set for just documentation. You know, as I'm going, I love documenting this kind of stuff, and then once I'm done with it, you know, I kind of always like to look back and or if I need to start a new project or help a buddy out with a project, we can always reference my my album. So that was the mountain tiles. We did the forest. I mean, this is the same. It's just pulled out just a different angle, just to show you guys some variation. This is just a natural shot, unedited, in my kitchen, fresh out of the oven there. You may see a little bit of warping here, a little distortion here. That doesn't really bother me, to be honest with you. I've placed the tiles all flush against each other, and there's really minimal gaps on here, which I'm not too worried about. So this is the collection. Just showing you how it, let's go full screen here, showing you how it looks. And you can kind of see how they all kind of came out. I'm very, very happy with how they turned out. Again, this is, you know, maybe, I don't know, what time did I get a start on this thing? It was about 3 hours worth of work. So I did the base tiles, 9 of them. Out of the 9 tiles, I did the 2 forest tiles, like the custom, you know, topography, and then the trees. And then I did the topography for the stone. Actually took a little bit longer to set, because I wanted to try out variations in the topography. And then I also did the rocks, which were a little bit more, required a little bit more attention than the actual trees. But I did add a few little trees in here in my mountains, so just to give a little bit of variance and you know, add a little difference in there, just a little splash of perhaps color that you may see some grass or some trees kind of growing on a mountainside. That seems to be fairly natural, but for the most part this will be painted gray to kind of signify that rock or ore resource, right? So yeah, let's go back, and I believe that's pretty much it. That's it for my progress tonight. We'll keep this video nice, short and sweet. Just wanted to give everybody an update on where I'm at. So we've completed the 4-piece set of forest tiles. We've completed a the 4-piece set of mountain slash ore tiles. Tomorrow I'm going to be making more of these base tiles, and then I will be trying to complete actually have, let me see, I filled up 6 today, so I have 3. I may do one more base, bake that, and then try to complete my wheat or my sheep. I was kind of debating wheat or sheep. I haven't really decided yet. Yeah, I'll have to see. Wheat or sheep. Yeah. Yeah, we'll find out, I guess. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it and appreciate the work that went into the sculpture. And if you're interested in super sculpting or just hand sculpting in general, I'm not a sculptor by trade. I love just art in general. I love working with my hands as a hobby. But I think that kind of is attributed to the fact that I'm on a keyboard and computer all day doing software design. So a lot more digital creative work than physical creative work. But when I went to school to study for my degree, I got a very good experience and opportunity to do all types of artwork. Metalworking, welding, sculpture, foundry casting, painting, paper pencil drawing, illustration, cartoon illustration, things like that. And then of course your creative digital mediums like video, audio, 3D modeling. So I got a pretty good variety of art classes, and I absolutely loved every single one of them, for sure. I've just recently, kind of gravitated towards handcrafted artworks to kind of give myself a mental break from the screen, right? Something about handling raw materials like clay, sculpting that out to the way that you want it to be, and then, solidifying that piece or hardening that piece, or adding your final touches like painting it and everything like that just is the cherry on top. But I'm enjoying the process. Sorry for the sidetrack rant, but yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. Sorry the stream was a little bit later than I normally do, but I was wrapping things up in my workspace and cleaning that up to make sure that I wasn't leaving a huge mess or anything like that, or any plastic residue on any surfaces, so I spent some time cleaning that up. But yeah, thank you guys once again for stopping by. Any feedback is appreciated. You're welcome. Comments, concerns, anything like that. If you liked the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. Hopefully there are some Settlers of Catan fans out there that kind of share my excitement in completing this 3D set that we're going to be using. I'm going to be using personally. I may even end up taking it to my workplace, because my all of my coworkers are kind of sharing the excitement for me to complete this thing and get a chance to play on it. So that's great. Stay tuned for some more updates tomorrow, and we'll see what I decide on, whether that's wheat or whether that's the hills with the sheep. We will see. All right, guys, have a good night. Peace out.